Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I've always wondered, what actually makes or breaks an organization? Well, today we're taking a pretty fascinating journey through history to uncover the real secret to success. And spoiler alert, it's really not just about having the smartest people in the room. We're going to see how the exact same principles that forged modern nations are the ones determining whether today's megacorporations thrive or, well, completely collapse. Let's dive right in.
So I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine needing a visa just to travel from Gujarat to Maharashtra. Picture in India where literally every single state has its very own currency, its own passport, and a completely separate railway system. Sounds totally unbelievable, right? But the crazy thing is, this fractured reality was almost the truth. And the single defining factor that prevented it, you guessed it, collaboration.
To really grasp this, think of collaboration like a bustling college campus. You've got the principal, the faculty, the IT guys, security. They all have wildly different roles, but they share one overarching goal, which is student success. When everyone communicates, the whole institution grows. But contrast that with what we call a silo mentality. Imagine an office where HR absolutely refuses to talk to finance, marketing ignores everybody else, and everyone's favorite catchphrase is, "Hey, that isn't my job." Look, a silo is great for protecting grain on a farm, but in a workplace, it completely isolates people and brings innovation to a dead, grinding halt.
History is actually packed with these incredible triumphs of shared purpose that defied massive odds. We're going to look at a few, from the independence movement back in 1930 to the monumental integration of states in 1947, all the way up to modern space exploration. As we go through these, you'll see how seemingly impossible goals were achieved through just absolute unity. So let's start back in 1930. Okay, so the crucial secret to collaboration is actually diversity. During the 1930 Dandi March, Mahatma Gandhi didn't just walk with a bunch of politicians. He was joined by farmers, teachers, students, merchants, and women from all over the country. Did they share a profession or a background? No, absolutely not. But they were united by a single, incredibly powerful vision. And that right there is the purest definition of collaboration in action. Now, you might be wondering, why does this historical event matter to me? Well, because it directly applies to your daily professional life. Just as those marchers united, your organization is only going to succeed when highly diverse departments, like marketing, production, and customer support, rally under one single vision. I mean, if everyone is just marching to their own beat, you're never going to reach your destination. It's really that simple. Now, brace yourself for this number, 560. When India became independent in 1947, it wasn't just one single united country right out of the gate. It was a chaotic puzzle of over 560 independent princely states. Each one had its own ruler, its own army, laws, and agendas. Talk about the ultimate recipe for a silo mentality. I mean, we could have so easily ended up with hundreds of separate, uncoordinated, and competing countries.
But instead, we witnessed an absolute masterclass in breaking down silos. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel knew that a strong India was possible only if everyone stood together, and he didn't force this unity with an iron fist either. Instead, he facilitated it. He listened, he negotiated, and he built immense trust to seamlessly integrate 560 totally separate entities. Honestly, that is how you dismantle the ultimate silo.
Let's fast forward a bit to 2013 and ISRO's historic Mars mission. Think about the teams here. You had mechanical engineers, software developers, mission controllers, and scientists, all working together on India's maiden attempt to reach Mars. Could they have achieved this if the developers didn't talk to the engineers? Obviously not. If just one specialized team decided to withhold information, a multi-million-dollar mission would have literally burned up in the atmosphere. Which brings us to a really incredible physical representation of all these ideas, the Statue of Unity. Built to honor Sardar Patel, it is the world's tallest statue, standing at a staggering 182 meters. But beyond just being an engineering marvel, it's a living, breathing monument to collaboration. Constructing something like this required flawless, non-stop communication among geologists, architects, engineers, and various government agencies. If the logistics team had just ignored the architects for even a day, it would have been a catastrophic failure. So, this towering monument doesn't stand because of one brilliant engineer or a single visionary acting completely alone. It stands because thousands of people took shared responsibility for one overarching purpose. It was constant, relentless communication that transformed an impossibly ambitious vision into solid, 182-meter-tall reality. Okay, so we've explored the towering heights that collaboration can reach, but what happens when it completely breaks down? Like, what happens when that communication snaps and everyone just retreats into their own little corners? Let's pivot for a second and look at the dark, destructive consequences of the silo mentality. Let's take Nokia as an example. Once upon a time, they absolutely dominated the mobile phone market. They had all the right ingredients, too: incredible talent and world-class technology. But their fatal flaw? Internal silos. Severe communication breakdowns between departments drastically slowed down their decision-making. So, right when the smartphone revolution hit, Nokia was busy not talking to itself, and their competitors quickly left them in the dust. The stark workplace lesson here is that talent alone simply isn't enough. You can literally have a building full of the most brilliant minds on the entire planet, but if your departments aren't aligned and information isn't flowing freely, your organization will ultimately fail to survive. And just to show you how timeless and destructive this concept is, let's step way back to 1757. During the Battle of Plassey, Surajut Dowlah's forces suffered a massive, historic defeat solely due to a lack of unity. Key leaders like Mir Jafar deliberately withheld their support during critical moments, prioritizing their own selfish personal interests over defending their territory. When individuals put their own agenda ahead of the team's mission, everything shatters. Now, if you translate that historic betrayal into today's workplace, you get what we call corporate princely states. This is exactly what happens when departments start acting like rival kingdoms, withholding vital info, keeping secrets, or even actively competing against each other. Listen, if your marketing and sales teams are hoarding data from one another, they are essentially committing corporate treason. They are weakening your organization from the inside out. When you put collaboration and silo mentality head-to-head like this, it becomes a literal blueprint for enduring success versus guaranteed failure. The difference in daily operations is just night and day. Open, transparent teams freely share their resources to generate creative ideas. Meanwhile, walled-off individuals are constantly duplicating efforts, which just leads to immense waste and frustration across the board. And the metrics really speak for themselves here. Fostering collaboration guarantees faster decisions, because bringing in diverse perspectives actually speeds up finding the right choice. Silos, on the other hand, they guarantee information hoarding and endless, painful delays. Shared knowledge builds trust and growth, while limited communication practically guarantees conflict and decline. It really is that simple. So the thread tying all of this together is pretty undeniable. The Dandi March succeeded because diverse people united. India became one nation because Patel integrated 560 rival states. ISRO reached Mars because highly specialized experts relied on each other. And the Statue of Unity stands today because thousands coordinated perfectly. Collaboration builds nations, it builds organizations, and quite frankly, it is the only way to build the future. Ultimately, great achievements are never the work of just one individual. They are the result of people working together toward a common purpose. Whether you lead a massive company, teach a classroom, or manage a small project, this principle remains completely undefeated. So I'm going to leave you with this question. When you look at your daily habits, are you building isolated silos, or are you actively collaborating to build something greater than yourself? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.